Hello, my name is Molly, and this is my video essay on a cultural experience that I've had while here in Korea. It was difficult to pinpoint any one thing, but I finally decided on something that I experience every day. What I have chosen to focus on for this video is the street culture of Korea. This doesn't just mean the performers that are in the street, though those are a lot of fun, but just the general things I've noticed while walking around the streets of Seoul, something I do every day and is always different and completely unique to being here in Korea. One of the biggest things I've noticed is, of course, the people's relationship to the beasts of the roads, the cars. Pedestrian and car relationships are so very different. It's telling that it's one of the first things that we are warned about when we enter the country. I now understand why in K-dramas it's a bit of a trope for a love interest to be randomly hit by a car. It seems so much more likely here than I ever thought possible. Cars occasionally come out of nowhere, wait for the smallest amount of time possible before passing in front of or behind you, as seen in this clip, and I have yet to pinpoint what exactly motorbikes are and aren't allowed to do. Here in Korea, you always have to pay attention to the roads, no matter what, and I've noticed that people are cautious, but at the same time assertive when crossing the street, because if you aren't crossing the road. Cars will take advantage of any hesitation. It's also really cool to see what happens on the streets here when cars are no longer a concern. Many streets, especially those in Sinchon and Hongdae, are closed down or blocked off for vehicles other than buses at night, as people take over the streets. Sinchon takes advantage of this, as performers come out and sing, dance, and play instruments right in the middle of the roads, and pedestrians no longer avoid them, as you see here. This is a time when performers really take over. I think that street performers are really, truly amazing. There are always some to see. On weekends, it's not uncommon to walk into the Sinchon area to hear music, as performers draw in a large crowd. This is pretty much the only thing that really stops the flow of pedestrian traffic here, as people become immersed in this fun performances. Other than when performances are drawing a big crowd, traffic just doesn't really stop. Even if it's pouring rain, there are always a ton of people just getting to where they need to be. If people want to stop and talk, they usually do so on the side of the sidewalk, or they grab something to eat and sit in a nearby restaurant or cafe, because there are plenty of those all around. It isn't a struggle to go around a group of people just standing in the middle of a sidewalk, like in other cities I've been to. Everyone usually seems to have a plan and are constantly on the move here. Very rarely are people stopped, unless it's at night and the parties have begun. I think this really shows how efficient Korea is in the day, and how much fun the socializing culture can be at night. There is always so much to notice about the type of people that live somewhere, just by paying attention to what happens on the street, and Korea is no exception. I've really enjoyed just soaking everything up on these streets, from the pop-up for K-pop idols that appear overnight, to the dodging of a motorcycle that appeared behind you out of nowhere. It's been amazing, and I can't wait to see more.